Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you're gearing up for the dental admissions test, the DAT, you already know it's a beast. It's one of the biggest hurdles on your way to dental school. Today, we're going to break down how to build the absolute perfect foundation to not just face it, but to conquer it.
For this explainer, we're actually going to take a peek inside the source material from Nemorize. That's spelled Nemorize, nemorize.com. We're getting a preview of their very first lesson, which is all about building that core fundamental knowledge. So let's dive right in.
And let's be real for a second. Prepping for this exam, it can feel completely overwhelming. It's like you're trying to climb a mountain of textbooks and you're not even sure where to start. We totally get it.
So let's break it down. At its core, the DAT is really built on these four big pillars. You've got the huge survey of the natural sciences. We're talking biology, gen chem, and OChem all rolled into one. Then you've got the Perceptual Ability test, the PAT, which is a whole other world. And of course, reading comprehension and quantitative reasoning. Now, the source material points out that biology is your highest yield section. It's got 40 questions. So building a rock-solid foundation there is absolutely crucial.
And that is exactly why your starting point, how you begin studying, is so important. The approach we're looking at today kicks things off with what they call DAT fundamentals, and it's all about building an unshakable base that's going to support everything else you learn later on.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? Let's check out a few examples from the source material, almost like digital flashcards. We'll start with some biology essentials to see how these big concepts get broken down into something you can actually remember.
All right, first question. Get this picture in your head. You place a cell into some kind of solution, and you watch it start to shrivel up. What do you call the solution that's causing that to happen? Go on, take a second. What do you think?
The answer is a hypertonic solution. So why? Let's break that down. Hyper just means more, right? And tonic is talking about the concentration of solutes, like salt or sugar. So a hypertonic solution literally has more stuff dissolved outside the cell than inside. And because nature always wants to find a balance, all the water inside the cell rushes out to try and dilute the outside. That's what makes it shrivel. Simple as that.
Okay, next up, a real classic from molecular biology. We're talking about DNA replication. You've got a whole crew of enzymes doing work, but which one has that very specific, very important job of unwinding the famous double helix?
And the answer is helicase. Just think of it like the zipper on your jacket. It just unzips your DNA. But what's so great here is that you see the whole team, the whole unwinding crew. So if helicase is the zipper, topoisomerase is the person holding the fabric flat up ahead so it doesn't bunch up. Primase comes in and lays down the first little starter piece. And then DNA polymerase is the star player that builds the entire new strand. Seeing them all together gives you the context, not just one random fact.
Okay, one more biology essential for you. Transcription and translation. They sound super similar. They're both part of the same overall process, but they are totally different things. So what's the real difference between them?
And boom, seeing it laid out side by side like this just makes it click. Transcription happens inside the nucleus. That's where the original DNA blueprint gets transcribed or rewritten into a messenger molecule, mRNA. Then, that message travels out of the nucleus to a ribosome, and that's where its code is translated from the language of genetics into the language of proteins. Location, input, product, when you see it this way, it's pretty hard to forget.
All right, let's switch gears over to chemistry. We're going to use that same exact clear question and answer style for a couple of core chemistry concepts that you absolutely have to know cold.
Okay, here's a classic Gen Chem problem you're basically guaranteed to see. You have a 0.001 molar solution of HCl, which you know is a strong acid. So, what's the pH?
The answer is 3. Now, you could plug it into the whole pH equals negative log of the hydrogen ion concentration formula, or you could use a killer shortcut for strong acids. Just count the number of decimal places. 0.001, that's 3 decimal places. So the pH is 3. That little trick will save you precious time on the real exam.
Okay, last question for our little preview. We've got a lineup of some common elements. Out of these, which one is the most greedy for electrons? In other words, which one has the highest electronegativity?
And the top dog is fluorine. A simple table like this is awesome because it's not just an answer, it's a study tool. It gives you the clear ranking. A really great mnemonic to remember the most important ones is to just say the letters F, O, NCl. Fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, chlorine. They are the heavy hitters you're going to see over and over again.
So what we just saw were just a few quick hits from the very, very first lesson. But it's all part of a much bigger picture, a whole journey. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the entire study pathway that's laid out in the source material.
You can see how it's all laid out, right? It's a clear path. You start with the fundamentals, the stuff we just sampled, to build that solid ground. Then you move up to intermediate and advanced concepts. After that, it's a deep dive into the really complex stuff, and it all leads up to the final goal, full mastery of every single section on the DAT.
You know, you can't build a skyscraper on a shaky foundation, and the DAT is no different. If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and start actually mastering these concepts, the whole journey starts with that first step. You can check it all out for yourself at nemorize.com. Again, that's nemorize.com. So I'll leave you with this. What's the one foundational concept that's holding you back right now?